Peace. Good evening to the family. It's February 24th. Let me change that date up there. February 24th, 2019. Uh, haven't been able to do the daily energy readings on the daily side, but you know, there's really not a lot of shifts and changes, and the shifts and changes are profound enough that we can sit on these things for a couple of days, have a new revelation, a new understanding by dealing with the astrology, but processing it in real terms. Something that I see that's really rampant on social media is anger and, negative energy being thrown towards other individuals who may or may not be doing nothing to you. So very key to understand why. So let me just get into the vision before I get into the astrology. I was shown a man holding something in his hand, and what he was holding was veiled. And I went to reach for what he was holding, and it was very hot. And he said, this isn't for you. This is for me. I have to figure out what to do with this. And so I took that as really understanding the concept of hot coals. Throughout my spirituality, I've processed this concept many times over. So bringing it back here is something easy for me to talk about. Whenever I talk about gnosis or manifestation or meditation or realization or visualization, astral traveling, dreaming, all of the fly, metaphysical, conscious, spiritual things, none of that could be accomplished through anger. And I got the vision of dealing with people and kind of like them trembling on the inside, them really trembling at the core, well, close to the core, but very much trembling on the inside because there are things within them that they haven't fully processed. And so because they haven't fully processed, because they're trembling on the inside, what they will then try to do is compensate or cope or alleviate or try to soothe this rumbling or trembling within them. But the reality is you need to get rid of that shit. So it's very easy to, I had all of these thoughts previous to kind of incorporate in the astrology, but then when I got to understanding the astrology, I realized that these were all a clear channel. And so for the individual who is dealing with anger today, this talk is for you. Because when we discuss spirituality, there is really no space for anger to live or to exist. Even in the form of sex, death, all of these things we experience, and we all have our different grieving processes, and nobody can tell you how to particularly grieve or how to process trauma. But we must never, ever, ever, ever forget that the goal is not to stay in the space of pain or try to veil it, hide it, cover it when it's there. Because the ultimate reality is that one can actually heal themselves. One can actually grow from this pain. And maybe you had a perfect life, and this doesn't apply to you. But you can't understand why your mother, your cousin, your sister, your brother, your daughter, your son is so angry. This will bring some insight to that. So we want to first deal with the sun, being at the 6th degree of Aquarius, actually in sidereal Aquarius as well. So we have a match of Western astrology and sidereal astrology. I love these moments. So nobody is really confused on the energy. We all can bear witness to the energy, whether you are a sidereal Vedic type of person or whether you're a Western thinker. So let's all come together in the idea of sun being in the in the sign of Aquarius and the energy of Aquarius. And since Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Uranus is called the Great Awakener, then one would have to deal with their patterns. And is this pattern that I have a healthy pattern that's going to lead to ultimate catharsis or ultimate release, so I can deal with my Mars energy, which we'll touch on next, because this is a sextile, and sextiles denote effort, and the effort that we're speaking to is the effort of letting go, with the ultimate goal of obtaining. Okay? The 6th degree mark of Aquarius speaks to a transpersonal responsibility. Now, if I just say transpersonal responsibility, it sounds like some cool shit to say. But let's dig a little deeper. Let's go a little further into this. Transpersonal, meaning going beyond the personal. The personal is everything that you've experienced up to this point. Transpersonal is transit, like beyond that which you call the personal self. Responsibility is taken from the root word responsible, and the etymology for the word responsible is back sponder or responder or respond. Sponder is taken from the word sponsor. Now, if we want to understand what a sponsor is a guarantee. Like if somebody is sponsoring me, then I'm ultimately guaranteeing that this person has enough money to compete in selling enough books for the book drive. I sponsored you. That means I'm guaranteeing that here goes my money, so you're gonna win the book drive, right? And to give it back means that I have to pledge to another person. The other word for responsible is answerable, meaning that when it's called upon you, you have the answers, and the answers aren't found in words. The answer is found in action. Therefore, the actions that we take to compensate, to cope, even if we have enough money to do so, we really need to take key as to what are the actions that I'm doing. Am I just trying to simply be in a space where I feel like my human self would be satisfied? Or am I in a space where I'm going beyond my human self and I'm really answering the call to my soul and to my spirit and to my purpose? Now, this sounds great, I bet. The dead end to all of this shit is holding those coals. Because ultimately this speaks to how you react to the world around you. And not only how you react to the world around you, the fact that you have to create your own responsibility for it. You have to create your own reasoning for it. And the problem with that is that we've adopted other people's reasonings for it. Excuse me. An example of that would be if I had a group of friends and me and my group of friends, we had a destination. Everybody has this destination, but then, some girls walk by. 7 of them start going to the girls and 3 of them keep going. So therefore, we all said we was going mob to the store, but then when girls came, 7 of y'all went to go deal with the girls. The rest of us went to the store. So such is life. Another reason how this shows up is if you grew up in a family and, every time somebody died, your ass was laughing. Eventually, you would get out of that shit. even if your natural reaction was to laugh at death or to feel a certain way about death, maybe you didn't want to go to funerals or things of that nature, the scrutiny and ridicule that you got for not participating emotionally in what family decided whatever it is to do, it literally programmed you. So when you're an adult, things are happening, and if you're not really doing the true psychological work, which is individuation, you 10 times out of 10 are programmed emotionally to want to have certain things. And you have to figure out how to realize yourself. And not only am I saying it because you have to, I'm just using the words being placed before me. The idea of responsibility is an idea to me that I don't really take lightly. And really understanding consciousness or transpersonal responsibility, that says to me that it is my responsibility to go beyond myself, and nobody can give me this but myself. And this is true self-realization. And if for some reason I am angry, then I have to do more work, because I should be able to completely be 1,000 in my interactions. I shouldn't be protecting. I shouldn't be compensating. I shouldn't be hiding. I should be present and open and honest. That's really the goal. Especially if we in this, Hotep culture and things of this nature, we conscious and we go buy crystals together and we support each other's business and hey sister girl and peace king and all of this. But that don't mean shit for real. We want to deal with consciousness to deal with self-realization so we can create the proper opportunities for us, have the proper good life for us. And the good life that we seek holding on to anger is not the correct good life, because the analogy is such. If I'm holding on to hot coals, then the only thing that I'm doing is trying to soothe this pain that I'm holding in my hot coals. So whatever I choose to do or how I do it, I'm not even really living my life yet until I learn to drop the coals. And once I drop the coals, develop inner peace, not being so reactive, but being more proactive, then I deal with purpose. Then I'm able to meditate. Then I'm able to do all of the cool conscious shit, but not until I do the work. And so I know I'd be everywhere, here, there, and things of that nature. And I'd be seeing the conscious, whatever, like, the hood priestess, the hood shaman, the hood witch, and the hood this and the hood that. And these are some real popular channels, but it's really, really set up on buying into them as a character or as a like they got something special, because they are dealing with something that you don't know. And so you should, pay them and things of that nature. And really, maybe I came across like that at a certain point in time, but I'm slowly moving into a space. I really took strides into fortifying my life outside of the internet. So now I just use the internet as a tool to get my voice out, or, speak my truth. That's what I use the internet for, and really connect into my soul tribe on the daily, no matter where we are. So, not knocking nobody's hustle, but the ultimate goal is self-realization. And if you pay me for a reading, that's where I would lead you to. But then again, if you're interested in whether you're going to get married or whether, things are going to change for you financially, whether, all of these things that, no person has any control over but you. All of these things are very much attainable if you're willing to do the work. So I know what that's like to hold on to things and then to seek for things to soothe what you're holding on to. And consciousness, boy oh boy, is a perfect death trap for all of that which you are seeking. So, like I said, sextile. The sun is sextile. Mars. And Mars is in sidereal Aries and Western Taurus. And this is more or less the fire energy, the hot coal, where we can tie into the hot coal analogy, especially if we want to incorporate the sidereal view, fire on top of fire. And holding on to that is much different between, having a rocket shoot out of your ass and bring you to levels and heights that you never knew you could reach. Fire is that. It could burn you. Fire could really burn you, really damage you, really have you focus. Like, you ever burnt yourself and tried to have a good time or try to watch TV? It's like hard to concentrate. You tried to cook you some chicken wings for the game or whatever, and you had the grease on too hot, and everybody enjoying the game, but you can't because your 3 fingers is burnt to crisp and shit. You got to put Vaseline on them shits. So the reality of fire is that it can be very uncomfortable, but you have to learn how to kindle it, and then you have to understand what it is. You go back to Greek mythology where they discuss Perseus as the person who brought fire down, and fire was then allowed us to create civilizations and culture. And fire could be on a physical level, but then fire could be esoteric and then representing the kundalini. And all of this rings of your root nature. And the Mars at the 7th degree of Taurus speaks to an unimpeachable divinity, meaning that nobody can take away your divinity except you. You are the one that have to find it within yourself, and it has to be unimpeachable. And if you were to ever uncover your divinity, then they could talk about whoever they want to talk about in the news. Your baby daddy can do whatever the fuck that he want to do. Your baby mama can, have 15 more kids with 17 other dudes and constantly get on your nerves. But even all of that being said, you can still create Zen because your divinity is not blocked by any external situation. I don't care where you're living, high or low, near or far. Your divinity can pull you out of some shit. Your divinity can pull you down from some shit. This is your root nature, and to be fully invested into that, you can't be fully invested into anger. And I know how it is in these Facebook groups, in these, quote unquote magical Wiccans and witches and all of this, and I'll teach you how to hex, and and I know how you can get in your mind where you really trying to figure out, do these motherfuckers really know some shit? Because goddamn, my boss get on my nerves. I would love you understand what I'm saying, but all of these is reflections of you. I called the meeting today at my job. I had to clear the air because I've never worked in this setting before, and I just literally couldn't figure out what was going on because nobody really say nothing. Everybody just kind of do their own thing. So I'm like, I just want to know if I'm doing something wrong, because I would hate to be coming in here every day, doing the wrong shit. I've been a truck driver for the past 6 years, so working in this kind of environment, like, uber professional, everybody multitasking and shit, I'm trying to feel like I'm low-key behind. And they like, we don't say shit to you because you don't do shit wrong. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you got good customer service, and we wish we had more people like you, and you never miss days, and things of that nature. So I was like, okay, that's cool to know, because I was walking in here thinking some crazy shit. I was in here thinking, I don't know. But it's like that when you don't get to the root of shit. If you don't ask questions. Because you can walk into situations in your own fucking mind, feeling a whole type of way about your partner, about your friends, and you ain't asked them shit. You know why you ain't asked them shit? Because your shit is so thick and so strong that it don't even matter what the root situation was or what really was the core of the situation, because you was holding stones that whole entire time. So you ask these questions or you have these concerns. Hood Mystic, I hear you talking about life purpose, and it looks to me that you somewhat on your life purpose, or you close to it, or you kind of got an idea what your life purpose is. And man, I don't have the slightest. I'm working at the post office. I hate it. My mama get on my nerves because I want to burn incense. She want me to go to church. My daddy, he ain't never been around. Man, my daddy ain't shit. My brother, he molested me when I was 7. And my sister, you know, she was a prostitute and she got molested too. And, you know, I got a lot of shit with me, Hood Mystic. I can't find my purpose. And you know what, for real, I really want to kill somebody for that shit. But then you see them the next day, they like, Hotep, tomorrow Namaste is the day where we get to meditate. And, you know, you like, what the fuck? You know, but you sharing energy with these people because you know not of the psychological realizations or compensations of what consciousness really looks like, because it's very, very rare. It's very easy to intellectualize consciousness and begin to create different platforms, different niches, whether it's yoga, whether it's shamanism, whether it's magic, and, you know, create a character, invest in yourself, you know, look the part, speak the part. Hell, you might even help some people. But what are you really doing when it comes to awakening people to their divinity, their root? If for sure as hell ain't paying you, you know, whatever you want to charge or however you want to charge and things of that nature, time and energy is one thing, and providing a service is one thing. But as if to act as if like you about to put some magical charm in your practice or your work, that presents you as to a level of charlatanism, because you know that the people are really just compensating. They only want to get married because they single. They only want to get money because they broke. They only want to be happy because they sad. You know, these people, when they get their shit together, they're not gonna even care to even mention your name. So the idea to consciousness in a nutshell, if you want to get to the bone and gristle, is self-giving, giving to self constantly. And if my hands are full with giving, love, prosperity, realization, knowledge, meditation, visualization, and giving that shit to myself, then guess what happens? I become a better husband. I become a better father. I become a better businessman. I become a better speaker. I do better videos. I have more friends. I'm more peaceful in my day to day. I go to work and am able to learn new things and not feel as though I'm actually at work. I'm able to express myself, and all of this is because I gave myself as much time as I needed, because my truth comes from the reality of loving deeply and passionately and setting up a life with a person and knowing that me and this person would be together forever, and that person being took away from me, and then having to cope and process that not once but twice. And I'm only 34. Most people They marry a person and they go old with them, they die, and they die too because their hearts broke. You've heard about that many and many a times. Me, I've I've lost all my friends. I've, lost people to death. I've, all types of shit. And I don't sit here, you know, not trying to inspire and not trying to heal and not trying to move on because life didn't go the way that I planned it. I have to realize that it wasn't my job to plan that shit in the first place. And so, the quote that I took from the Sabian symbol, the 7 degrees of Taurus, I want to read it as it's written because I couldn't say it better. It is no longer a collective cultural effort based on past knowledge, as in the preceding symbol, but a meeting that introduces into the collective situation a totally new factor which transcends it. So, when you are able to fully meet with self and have that clear conversation with self, that creates a new situation within itself. And if you don't have that meeting with the self, of course you have plans, of course you have goals, but what if somebody piss you off? What if a girl come walking by? What if a dude come walking by in them gray sweats? Are you going to then get off your goal, get into a relationship? Oh, why did I do that? And man, sometimes people just want to deal with you just to have sex with you. They don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you do better. They want what's between your legs, men and women. So you got to be, and the meeting is not between you and another person. This meeting is between your personality and your soul. So we're gonna deal with where the moon is at. The moon is in Scorpio. Major Scorpio vibes. So the card of the day, in lieu of that fact, is death. Now, people don't want to deal with death. People want to talk about all the cards except death. And maybe everybody talking about death except me. Let me stop speaking for everybody else. Let me speak for me. I don't like really dealing with death because of what it symbolizes. And I really enjoy the people in my life. And I would hate to see them die. So I don't want to touch on this. But I have to really do the work. I have to really, really do the knowledge. It's not about physical death. It can be about physical death if you want it to be about physical death, if that's what you want to focus on. But there's a lot of scientific, spiritual, transformational knowledge within the card of death. And maybe it's positioned and stated in such a way that it has you afraid. But we need not to be afraid of letting shit go, letting shit die. That is the problem. We don't let shit die. And when we want to deal with spirituality and really embrace our life and our purpose, what is blocking you is this anger. And this anger needs to die. And to simply, you don't have to kill anger. You don't have to strangle anger. You don't have to choke anger out. You just have to release it. You can say, I release this anger from my being. I'm no longer upset. I give that person peace for what they've done. Not because I don't want, not because I'm soft or I'm a bitch or I'm a sucker or nothing like that. Because that can come up when you're dealing with it on a masculine level. As for the men, you ain't a bitch because you let shit slide, especially if you got children and things of that nature. Certain fights don't need to be fought. But you won't fully understand that until you let it go. Because certain times you need to address shit. Certain times you can be a bitch about things. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about specific anger and specific anxieties and specific fears that are holding you back, that are creating patterns. And maybe you think you're off patterns because it's tax season and now you can begin to invest in your pleasures. You can begin to buy shit, you know, invest in shit, feel good about yourself. And that's great. But it's just more of the same. And maybe you'll see it, maybe you don't. But hopefully you're able to see it and you're able to let go of all anger just for the moment, because what's actually happened is a very spiritual time, full of downloads, full of revelation, full of prosperity. Um, you literally can manifest your will, but you have to find your will, and your will is found through love, and that love has to be deeply within yourself. So if you are holding on to a personal self, that is also great, because you got all the nice angles on Instagram. Your waves or your dreads is nice and long. Your waves is waving. All the girls think you sexy. Or don't nobody even like you as. People call you ugly. People be like, ew. All of that. All of that gotta die. Good or bad. Because we want to deal with the root nature. And the root nature is not found in the physical. At least for this moment in time. We deal with astrology. We deal with specific moments in time. So as these things come to the surface, don't compensate. Don't cope. Don't search for the latest and greatest drug. Deal with it. Say, this doesn't serve me. I'm ready to cut it off. And from there, true peace, true awakening. So that was the message today. Very much of a understanding, and I know this esoteric and this spirituality can seem redundant, and it only seems redundant because you haven't done it yet. And there would be no need for any talk like this on this level. But let's be real. This is not taught in school. This is not taught on TV. So let's understand that there is a place for true gnosis. There's a place for true metaphysics. There's a true place for esoterics in its daily application as observed through the stars. And we don't worship the stars here. We simply understand the stars and we work with the stars, because we are our stars individually within us. And the whole goal is to find that. And once we find that, we're led to certain things. And trust me, I'm not just sitting here like, oh, because I'm just the shit on YouTube, that's why I'm kicking it the way I'm kicking it. No, I'm literally like doing shit in real life with my wife and with my family and like my children, and like that to me is one of the most beautiful things, because it's real beautiful when you have it, when it was taken away and you ain't know how you was going to get it back or nothing like that. That's why I'm so grateful for my wife, because I was very much in a destructive, low place. But sometimes you have to understand that, people, when they go through things, grief and trauma, they lost somebody that was close to them. If you ain't been through that shit and you can't relate to that shit, let them grieve. Let them process. And don't try to make them feel better, lift their spirits up, because you don't know what that shit is like. And if you do know what that's like, you gotta really go. And if you are in the process of grief, where you had a vision of a situation You have the real realization, or the real key point to death, the truth to death, is that death is an illusion. I am inundated with spiritual support and spiritual help based upon dealing with the specific quote unquote dead. So what you may view as dead isn't actually dead. It very much is alive. And that's a whole nother realization to why death is one of those powerful cards. If we fully understand it and fully able to process it. Because the energy that I deal with is real, but you might not see it. But the relationships and the love is created, and you can very much see it in my children. It's undeniable. So that's what it is with me. Um, that's who I am. And I guess, I just wanted to do this video because the mornings are super hectic, different things going on. But I'll be back on Tuesday to talk about this new moon. And be sure to leave your comments on this video if this video helped you at all, or let me know if this message was clear enough, or if you've been going through something relative, or is this video give you some help. I'm now planning on going live whenever I'm able to provide clear help and a clear message. And not that it's not every day that I get messages. It's just that I'm not as available every day. As I increase my business and increase the things that I'm doing with other people, my time begins to become a little bit more shorter. And I would just hope that you are taking advantage of the opportunities through finding self and being able to connect with those kindred spirits, but realizing that you are a kindred spirit first. And it leads to so much beautifulness. It's been a long journey and a long road, so I don't expect anybody to listen to this video and accomplish anything overnight. But if it just opened you up to a little bit more of what you need to do on your path, then my work was good and my work is done. So for the moment, but I'll definitely be back. So yeah, peace to everybody. Catch you again on Tuesday. We'll talk about the new moon. Peace.